I'm Bill Locke. I live in 255 Mere Point Road, which, to put in context, that's the poor end of Mere Point Road. I've lived there since 1972, but I've been a resident of Brunswick, or my family has, with the exception of 3 years where I was a flight instructor in Texas since 1957. And I've been on the personnel board for 37 years. So if you have any questions, I think I can answer. First off, I'm not here to talk about oysters. The Personnel Board is appointed by the Town Council on 3-year terms, made up of 5 permanent members and 2 associate members. And our main jobs, main tasks are the hiring of firefighters and police officers, the promotion of firefighters and police officers, and finally we act as a courtroom in the case of a disagreement between the administration and the unions. The process of hiring and promoting firefighters and police officers is a very complex, but what we do is very simple, although very important. Our mission is to inject a community or citizens' attitude into the selection and hiring and promotion of our people. We do this in this way, 3-sided process. Side 1 is the candidate who comes to the table, and he or she has a score that they've already achieved. That's based on education, especially as it relates to the subject, experience, especially as it relates to the subject, tests, and so forth. We are not privy to what that score is, so that it will not influence our opinion of the candidates at that time. We then ask the candidate a series of questions, and we give them a grade based on a number of attributes, such as appearance is one, but more important is communication skills, public service, and so forth. We each individually give a score. The scores are turned over to Human Resources, who adds them together and averages them and adds those to the scores that the candidate already brings. In the past, when we had better days, we would have 10 or 12 candidates would get as far as the board for maybe 1 or 2 openings in the department. Lately, we have 1 candidate for 5 or 6 openings in the department. So where before we would turn over the list of 10 or 12 people categorized according to the final score, and the chief of that department then had to choose from the top 3. He didn't have to take 1 or 2, but he couldn't take 6 or 7, even if it was his son-in-law. So the situation now, though, with 1 candidate and multiple openings is more of a yes or no basis. The list is good for a year, so if there were more than 1 candidate and it was selected, the list would still be there for a while, and if there was another opening, then the chief would not have to reconvene the board. So, as I said, our job is to inject a community or citizens' attitude into the selection and promotion of our police officers. Now, the promotion one is basically the same as the hiring. Different questions obviously are answered, and different skills are in the scoring. So, but other than that, it's the same thing. The third process I've kept for last, because in the 37 years I've been involved with the Personnel Board, it's only occurred twice. Once with a firefighter and once with a police officer. The board sat as a jury and determined the outcome of it based on the input from both the administration and the union. So that's basically it. As a result, I think we'll all agree that Brunswick has the best fire department and police department in the state of Maine. So the process, I think, works. So do you have any questions?
Any questions? Councilor Eppergraf.
Not a question, but
thank you, Chair Locke. Really appreciate this report. And I do want to reemphasize that serving on this board is a chance for citizens to have some input, some voice in how our police and fire departments are developed. It's a chance to learn something about how they operate. And I think it's a wonderful board to have, and encourage people, citizens, to apply for positions on it. Thank you.
I'll add one thing, it's a lot of fun, actually, so.
Do you have refreshments? Seems to be the theme.
Oh, and I have one other thing. I understand that normally at your meetings, you have food.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, we do.
Good.
Well, not so much now that we only have one candidate, because we're in there and out by 4:30. But if we have a number of promotions, we do, because there's usually 6 or 7 people, and by the time we get done, it's 9 o'clock at night. So, but for anybody who might be interested, we only meet a couple times a year, so it's not a weekly thing like these poor folks have to go through.
I just want to thank you for the many years of service,
Yeah.
and I know the chiefs appreciate it. We all appreciate it, and I think you're right. It's proven to have a better outcome in terms of the police and fire departments being what they are because of your group and the participation, so thank you.
And thank you for your attention. So.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, we do have a question. Councillor King.
Yes. Chair Locke, do you currently have any openings on the committee? Are you looking for
Right now, we're
members?
short the 2 associates. We don't have them, and I think one of the permanents. So there's only 4 of us out of the 7. It needs a quorum of only 3 to actually hold a meeting, but sometimes we get close, so.
Great. So if anyone listening is interested, they can find the application on the town website.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor King.